What's going on, guys? Scott Martin here, Bassmaster Pro. Want to talk about a tip, a fishing tip that's going to help you catch a lot of fish. You know, in the summertime on river systems, those fish want to get out in that current. They want to get, a lot of times, from the backwaters, which is hot. Water temperatures start to rise in the heat of the summer, that high 80s, low 90s. Those fish want to gravitate out to the main river. And then you get out here to the main river. We're on the Arkansas River right now, and you say, well, where do we fish? You know, there's all kinds of places to fish, obviously. Lay down trees, riprap banks, mouths of sloughs. But a place that I really like to focus my efforts, and it's a pattern. It's a pattern in the summertime that can really put a lot of fish in the boat, and especially a good solid limit. It's called wing dams, right? Wing dams. If you've never been on a big river system like the Mississippi River, the Arkansas River, you might not know what I'm talking about, but a wing dam is a concrete abutment that comes out into the river that defers the channel and the current, so some of these places don't silt in. And a lot of times they'll put them out at the mouth of a bay or like a turn in the river, and it's just concrete riprap, and they're visible. Most of them are visible. Sometimes they're underwater depending on the water levels. And they come out in the river, and there's a lot of current that comes around the tip of those wing dams, creates an eddy. And when there's an eddy, those fish that are all hot and bothered from being back in that shallow water come out here to the deep water, a little bit cooler in the river. They can sit there and feed. So let's do this. Let's break it down pretty simple for you. We're going to talk about 3 or 4 baits that I like. We're going to try to catch a fish, and I'm going to show you how to find a wing dam. So check this out. All right, so a wing dam. Here is one on this Garmin map. That's what a wing dam looks like on a Garmin map right there. It has a black line. You can see it says break wall, which I call a wing dam. Here's another one. Here's another. This one comes out of a 45. Okay, so there's 2 right here in the river. We can keep scrolling up and see if we find another one. I don't see one right in there. We can scroll down, zoom out a little bit, scroll down the lake. Oh, here's a bunch of them right here. Look at all these break walls. Again, wing dams right here. Boom, boom, boom. So where the fish would be, current's going this way, fish are going to set up right on the end of that wing dam. A lot of times it's a little deeper right there where the current's kind of washed it out. Those fish can sit in that current or right outside the current, and as shad or bluegill or whatever bait fish come around that corner, bingo. So there's several of them around. Let's see if we can't get up on this one, which is right here actually. So enough looking at it on the map, guys. There's a wing dam right there, and look at all the logs that are all jammed up on top of that thing, because when this river floods, you know, this water might be 10 foot over top of that, and all the logs that wash down the river get hung up in that riprap and that wing dam. So there's lots of cover, right? There's the rocks, and there's logs and stuff that have been jammed in there, and as that current's come in, it makes a perfect little eddy right there. And but you've got to be careful, because look, we're in 11 foot of water right now. We're in 17 foot of water right now, and instantly it can come up to just barely under the surface, and you could hit your engine. So when you get to where a wing dam is, do not just ride over top of it quickly. You need to stop short of it and look at the water. All right, so right here is a wing dam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some baits out and show you what I like to do. But this wing dam comes out. We're in 8 foot of water right now, so we're sitting, I can tell by the Panoptics right here. Oh yeah, the wing dam, 20, look at that, 30 feet away. So you can also tell by, look at the water. See how the water creates like an eddy right here and creates a seam, what we call a seam. So you know that current's coming down the river and pushing up. So we want to find the very end of it typically. I mean, you can, you know, so basically here's two places on this wing dam, because it ends right out here, but that's also a secondary spot up here where that wing dam is out of the water and it meets, and it might only be 3 foot deep there where it drops in and it continues. So that would be number 1 spot. Number 2 spot's going to be right here in front of us. So let's do this real quick, okay? I'm gonna hold position with the trolling motor. Let me get out a handful of baits. I'll tell you about how I like to fish them, how I like to rig them, and then let's try to catch fish, okay? I know that's why you're here, so come on. All right, so let's talk about a couple lures. Now, first of all, you're dealing with current, you're dealing with rocks, you're dealing with logs, so you can't throw things that are going to get hung up. And so low and slow, like shaky heads and drop shots, will get hung up more times than not, but they work great, right? So a lot of times I'll take a standard 3/16 shaky head here, rig it up on a Guggenbait slim shake finesse worm, and just basically standard little deal there, spinning rod, the whole 9 yards. And that's number one. Number one, you can't hardly go wrong by fishing a shaky head. You're gonna, but have a few, because you're gonna break off quite a few of them. Okay, I mean, usually fish that with fluorocarbon tied to like a 10-pound braid on a spinning rod. Okay, I like that a lot. The other bait is a topwater of some sort, a walking bait. I don't like a popping bait too much. I like a walking bait because it looks like a shad getting chased, right? And I like something that's going to make a little bit of some commotion, right? You want something with a knocker in it. You want something that's going to really walk good and hard. You know, you really want to get the attention. A lot of times in these rivers, it's not crystal clear, right? So you need to make a lot of commotion. And a good walking bait in the first thing in the morning is really good. A lot of times when I first pull up to a wing dam in the mornings, I'll fish it with a topwater exclusively, make 10 or 15 casts across it, and a lot of times activate those fish really well. Then I'll move to a crankbait of some sort, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and then I'll kind of finish up with a shaky head or a drop shot. That's kind of my sequence. Now, I tell you one bait that works really well, and that is a swim bait. Okay, like a saucy swimmer. You have to match the size, you know, whether it's a 3.8, a 4-inch, what, you know, just kind of figure out what size shad they're feeding on. And a lot of times in the summer, they're not feeding on big bait. But I will say this, if you can find those big shad, right? A lot of times you pull up on these different wing dams and it's like little bait, little shad, little minnows, and you find one, like there's always that magical wing dam, right? You find that one that's got those big full-size shad on it, like this big. You see them dolphining out of the water and stuff in the mornings. When you find that size bait on these wing dams in the main river, that's a good one. Okay, that's a good one. Those better quality fish will be hanging around that wing dam, and those wing dams will produce year after year. So again, top water, shaky head, drop shot. Now, crankbaits, of course, right? I like a square bill typically. If you throw a deep diving crankbait, you're going to get hung up quite a bit. So I like various sizes in a square bill. That's basically what I've got in this box. You know, shallow running square bills, the 1.5 size. Something like that works really good. I've got one tied on right now. You know, I'm going to throw that on 12-pound line. Nothing real heavy. It's not like when I'm in the backwaters. I don't want to throw 17. I want that bait to get down a little bit, but I like that deflection of that square bill. So I'm going to throw it on a little bit lighter line, like 10 or 12, typically out here on these wing dams. But that's it. You know, again, you got to play with size. You got to play with color, and try those things. Now, let's get up. I've got a crankbait on. Let's see if we can't catch us a bass off this wing dam right here. I've got a good feeling about it. It's a perfect time of the day, right? All right, so we're in 11 foot of water. You can look here on the Panoptics and you can see how it comes up. Comes up right here. This is kind of the end of it, and that looks like a fish right there. So let's make a few casts with that crankbait and see if we can't catch one of these fish. The Panoptics is such a cool thing because it allows you to understand exactly what. Ooh, see, I hit rocks good there. Oh, come on, dude. Oh, I'm gonna catch one right here. I'm hitting them good. That's what you want. You want a crankbait that just kind of ticks the top of those rocks right there. But that Panoptics tells you exactly where everything is, and that's a huge deal. And a lot of times you'll catch, you know, largemouth. You catch a lot of spots doing this. If your river system has spots in it, it's a great place to find a school of spots, and it's a great place to start a tournament and get you 5 fish in the live well, and then spend the rest of the day trying to catch some bigger ones. Now I'm just throwing up current and just reeling it kind of steady, allowing it to deflect off those rocks. It's really digging good right here. So this one has a lot more opportunities, right? Because this one comes out submerged for a long ways. Some of the wing dams are the same height the whole way, so they might be completely exposed until the very end, and then they drop off. And pay attention to how the current is. You'll see where current, you know, is either strong. Oh, one hit it. You'll see where the current is either stronger or what, you'll just see differences, right? And that tells you maybe there's a little gap in the wing dam. And I've seen that before, where there's like a little trough, like it's 4 foot, 4 foot, and there's like a little dip in it where maybe they didn't stack the rocks up, or maybe part of it blew out. And a lot of times that's a little tiny spot on the wing dam that'll have like a major school of fish sitting there. And so that's really, really cool. All right, bonus tip time. Bonus tip time. I didn't even know this was gonna happen, but there is a bonus tip here. This is just one of those things that just pops in my head, but it's you'll appreciate it, okay? You'll thank me later. All right, so check this out right there, okay? There's a gigantic. What happens is when the barges come by, they displace a lot of water, so they suck water. Like you'll notice, like the current will get all crazy acting, and it changes just the flow that normally is going by, consistently going by. When that barge goes by, it changes it and sucks things, and shad and all the bait fish will kind of get all disoriented for a minute, and the bass or whatever fish are there will take that opportunity to feed. Like right now is the feeding time while this barge is going by. It sucks the water differently. And at Pickwick, I almost won a Bassmasters tournament there one time on an underwater wing dam. When the barges would go by, that's when I would get bit. And like literally would sit there and like wait. I'd say there's a barge way back there, and I would sit here and wait and wait and wait. You know, I'm not catching much. And then when that barge would get like that barge, the shad would start jumping and the fish would start blowing up, and it was game on. So if you see a barge and you're running wing dams, get to your very best one when he's coming by. You're liable to really trigger him and catch some nice fish. Oh yeah. There he is. There he is. All right. All right. I don't know if he's that big. Feels pretty good. Oh. Come on, buddy. Oh yeah, look at that one. Barely hooked. There he is. All right. Not a real big one, but a fish. And I had several fish swipe that little crankbait, and it was pretty close. Look, the barge isn't very far. Probably 5 minutes after the barge. Nice little bass right there. Good little keeper. Again, you know, I've never caught like a giant bag. I mean, maybe you can catch a 20-pound bag every once in a while out here, but most of the time it's a limit deal, right? It's a limit of these, it's a limit of spots. So if the next time you're fishing a river system, especially in the summertime, be sure to check out the wing dams, right? Try the wing dams, fish the wing dams, and catch some fish. So thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you. Bam!